number one.
ทันทีที่เห็นเรือขนเสบียงเข้ามาช่วยเหลือแรงงานข้ามชาติกลุ่มนี้ต่างแสดงความดีใจเพราะพวกเขายืนคอยอาหารอยู่ในนั้นมานานหลายชั่วโมงแล้วเกือบ10 วันที่ผ่านมาพวกเขาต้องอยู่อย่างอดมื้อกินมื้ออาหารที่ติดบ้านก็ใกล้จะหมดเต็มทีแรงงานข้ามชาติกลุ่มนี้เดินทางมาจากประเทศพม่าส่วนใหญ่เป็นชาวอารากันอยู่ทางภาคตะวันตกเฉียงเหนือของพม่ามีเพียงบางคนที่มาจากรัฐกะเหรี่ยงซึ่งทั้งหมดทำงานอยู่ในโรงงานผลิตชิ้นส่วนรถยนต์แห่งหนึ่งในอำเภอสามโคกจังหวัดปทุมธานีแต่เมื่อวันที่13 ตุลาคมที่ผ่านมาน้ำเหนือได้ทะลักเข้าท่วมจังหวัดปทุมธานีซึ่งอำเภอสามโคกอยู่ติดกับแม่น้ำเจ้าพระยาโดยมีน้ำท่วมสูงกว่า1 เมตรทำให้โรงงานแห่งนี้ต้องปิดตัวลง
บ้าน2 ชั้นค่ะมันก็ยังอยู่ค่ะแต่ว่าคุณก็แยกกันหมดแล้วค่ะยังไม่ได้บางคนก็ไม่ได้กินข้าวไม่ได้กินน้ำแล้วค่ะต้องตัดน้ำตัดไปหมดเลยนะคะ
หลังการปิดตัวลงของโรงงานแรงงานข้ามชาติส่วนใหญ่จะเดินทางกลับประเทศของตนแต่มีแรงงานอีกจำนวนมากซึ่งมีบัตรผ่อนปลนให้ทำงานอย่างถูกต้องพวกเขาเลือกที่จะอยู่ต่อเพราะต้องการรอค่าจ้างงวดสุดท้ายแม้ขณะนี้ยังไม่มีความแน่นอนว่าจะได้รับเงินหรือไม่ก็ตามแต่นายจ้างก็ไม่เคยติดต่อกลับมาเลย
นายจ้างก็ไม่ได้ว่าอะไรแล้วเขาก็ไม่สนใจแล้วว่าโครงการเขาที่มันมีหลายคนอยู่นะคะเขาไม่สนใจแล้วก็มีไปไกลเลยรอเงินเดือนสิ้นเดือนเนี่ยค่ะไม่รู้ว่ามันจะออกหรือเปล่าบางคนก็เขาก็รอเงินอยู่อะค่ะบางทีก็ไม่มีจริงๆได้ห้องก็อยู่
ทำไมรอเงินเดือนสิ้นเดือนทำงานไปกี่วันเนี่ย
ก็ทำงานไปประมาณ23 เนี่ย
เงินเดือนจะออกสิ้นเดือนเหรอนายจ้างเขา
แต่ว่ายังไม่แน่ใจนะคะตามนี้จะออก
นายจ้างเขาเคยมาคุยด้วยไหมว่า
ไม่เคย
แรงงานข้ามชาติกลุ่มนี้เป็นหนึ่งในหลายกลุ่มที่ต้องประสบชะตากรรมเช่นเดียวกับคนไทยเพียงแต่ปัญหาของพวกเขาซับซ้อนกว่ามากเพราะไม่สามารถสื่อสารกับคนไทยได้และการร้องขอความช่วยเหลือก็เป็นเรื่องไกลตัวนอกจากนี้ยังมีข้อจำกัดในเรื่องกฎหมายที่ห้ามแรงงานเดินทางข้ามเขตซึ่งขณะนี้มีแรงงานบางส่วนได้หนีไปอยู่อาศัยกับญาติที่จังหวัดสมุทรสาครแต่ต้องถูกจับขณะที่บางส่วนไม่กล้าเดินทางไปไหนเพราะนายจ้างยึดทะเบียนแรงงานต่างด้าวไว้ท่ามกลางความเดือดร้อนยังมีเสียงของแรงงานข้ามชาติรวมอยู่ด้วยเพียงแต่เสียงของพวกเขาค่อนข้างเบาและแม้คนเหล่านี้จะเป็นเรี่ยวแรงในภาคอุตสาหกรรมของประเทศไทยผู้ที่รับผิดชอบควรต้องหันกลับมามองปัญหาของพวกเขาด้วยความเมตตาด้วยเช่นเดียวกันนักข่าวพลเมืองเครือข่ายสื่อสารแรงงานรายงาน
To report there on the situation with the migrant workers with the floods. 2 issues that are interesting there. The unique situation where they can't communicate with the rescue workers, and also, secondly, if you could elaborate why they can't move outside their areas when the flood water is coming, and what impact that's having.
Hello. Okay, the first one, they can't communicate, that issue, and the second one, can't move. Okay. The first issue about can't communicate, I think is something in the future the ASEAN community can make it better together. Thai people and Burmese, Cambodia, Lao people, all country will learn English, but very far away from us. It's good because it's need for the global development. But if asked in our school, do we learn Chan? Do we learn Burmese? Do we learn Khmer? Do we learn Cambodian language? No. Not in our curriculum. Even in off-border areas, some learning center provide classes or in the cultural mix they can learn, but in the level of policy, not yet. And it has been problems long time ago. Okay, MAP Foundation start our working 14 years ago because some NGO worker got calling from officer okay, please come to help. We can't talk. We can't communicate. And one very important issue MAP Foundation together with network working with migrant worker from all part of Thailand. We have been advocating for the Thai policy to allow the in Thai we call อาสาสมัครแรงงานสาธารณสุขต่างด้าว okay I don't want to say that but it's the term of policy technical people okay if you and me even we from any part of the world yeah if we can communicate yes of course even we can use a picture we can use all kind of things to communicate but women we have a mouth we need to speak we need to understand in case we don't understand we need translator at the hospital the doctor really want to provide the best services to migrants but the barrier of language yeah is put much many difficulties so I repeat again that communication is very important we need our basic services to provide translation or at least in our unit respond to this kind of issue need to have people who understand all languages of people who stay in your country because situation now like okay maybe not only in Thailand especially in special economic zones like many factory many special economic zone in border where you welcome migrant worker as a cheap labor we don't want that where you welcome okay come on we have jobs for you but any case of problems like migrant want support not really get the proper services at the local people okay the flooding if easy question is the flooding select okay Thai flood migrant people here they avoid no the disaster don't choose whom to get disaster everyone get so we human we try our best to respond to make the better to make it change so our response should not discriminate okay it's really important to improve communication system and the second can't move I think it's according to the policy of national security because in all country in the world okay I think even people outside here understand because in the movie that we watch in the history movie fighting we need to hold our country in a strong border protection something like that yes it's good and I appreciate that I'm here because in the past my what to say yeah Thai national human can protect so I can have the safe life here but the life is changing all the time now in this era if we still keep that perspective of national security okay sorry that maybe my sentence is very directly but it is a very good opportunity to share what's real okay national security provides security for some people and in the other hand is cause the insecurity for some people I did talk with people from many sides including from government side they are afraid like if they provide freely immigration to Thailand maybe more and more minority come and they will take over Thailand I understand this kind of understanding not only in Thailand but in all over the world but you know so the national security policy try to limit migrant worker or minority people in all kinds that they can do even we have the policy like it is against the law if anyone confiscate your document but in practical okay I can share your experience from Mysore factory thousands of workers in factory after its bankruptcy we went there to try to seize access of the owner of factory who ran away to get few money to pay back for migrant worker who unpaid we saw more than like if I put all of that card in my bag can't maybe need 2 or 3 bag it's thousands of cards confiscated there it's basic law but the law not work forcing the law only forcing to very strict about transportation okay one more example one domestic worker in Bangkok she okay in 1 year she get very few chance to get a holiday, maybe 1 or 2 days. She really want to go to visit her brother. If you have brother or sister, I'm sure you want to see his or her for sure. But for migrant worker, okay, only one time. So she took a taxi because she was kept to work in the home only for many years. She did not know how to go out. She did not get the proper opportunity to see what the roads are. So she took a taxi. Okay, taxi is very expensive for her if compared with 3,000 baht a month for salary, and at least 50% she sent back home. Okay, she decided to take a taxi to see her brother in another area. Because kept in her house, she did not really understand what are the policies she can or she cannot. But she was really want to see her brother. And what happened, you know? The taxi driver raped her. And after he finished raped, he called the immigration police, come here to arrest. And she was arrested. And okay, when we got contact from her, she really want to get protection after we provide counseling and what are their rights, what is her right to get protection. But that's when she was raped in the other area. She needs to make a notice with the police in the other area. But how she go? She can't speak Thai and she don't know where to go. So I think
very vulnerable.
Yes. Okay.
So, Professor, if I can bring you in here briefly, you mentioned it, but how serious is the issue of corruption and in terms of the trafficking of these Burmese workers? Because almost half of them are undocumented, and this flood situation has sort of highlighted that once again, how vulnerable these people are in terms of the eyes of the law. How much of a problem is corruption or the trafficking of these people in Thailand, and who's involved in that trafficking and corruption?
In the past, we'll talk about human trafficking for labor or sex trafficking as they were unwilling to come, but now I think the situation changed. They would like to come willingly, but I mean that in case of the flooding in Bangkok, I think not only the Burmese, the migrants who suffer, but also the Westerner or the Japanese, because of Thai broadcast. Television in Thailand just broadcast in Thai. So after there were complaints about this, so for the foreigners asked the government to broadcast in English also. So it's not only the tourists, but also not only the migrants, but also the tourists cannot understand Thai. So in case of the migrant, I think there's some reason, because I have watched the television also, and some say that because of the language problem, they could not understand. They could not know where to go and how to communicate with those who are outside there, like in Ayutthaya, outside the industrial complex. And also because they are waiting for the salary or the money that the employer didn't pay them. Yes, and so there are many who would like the Burmese government to bring them back home.
Responsibility for the Burmese.
Yes, it's better even, so sometimes I think that, flooding is good, like tsunami in Indonesia with Aceh solution, right? So flooding in Bangkok or in Thailand perhaps bring them home. Yes,
but whether they'll stay or not is another question.
Yes, but those who got the register card, they would like to stay longer, because they don't have to be afraid of being arrested when they go out. But she also said about they cannot go everywhere. It depends on the card you have in your hand. Yeah. So how about give them the same card, like green card in the United States, or non-immigrant visa, something like that. The different, the many problems that I think the NGO are now working for with under taking some research on this kind of for cards or for immigration visa. Like that. So they use them differently. That's why they have the problem. And I think for the problem of language, I think I would like to talk about there is one website, one South Asia, something like that. They talk about people in different ethnic group in India. Now they use the radio station television to communicate them or to teach them because there are more than 100 I think languages in India. So the people are happy, especially the second generation, or I mean the children. You can use cartoon, you can use the comics, or to teach them to know other languages, so that once they go out from that region or that state, you can find work job in other states. So that's the case of India. But in case of Thailand, I think it's perhaps it's the director of the Language Institute of Chiang Mai University is here. So why not Chiang Mai University or ASEAN universities to help them by teaching ethnic language for the Burmese, for the Chan, for the other ethnic groups in ASEAN countries.
We'll be opening the floor to questions shortly, but I wanted to pick up on the point that you mentioned there about Burma taking more responsibility for their migrant workers. I'd like to throw to you, Dita. Indonesia is the country that's sending these migrant workers. Why is the government not looking after them better? Is it not the Indonesian government's responsibility at the end of the day, or the Burmese government's responsibility, to make sure that their people are being looked after?
Yeah. Yes. The main problem is of course with the internal affairs in the sending countries, but also the problems in the receiving countries, like in Thailand as receiving countries, in Saudi Arabia, in Malaysia as receiving countries, is also important. But I agree that finally the government regulation and protection is something that would define and shape the future of the fate of our migrant labor. And I think right now we have to start to change our mindset, whether it's the government, whether it's the private sector, public in general, has to start to change our mindset from looking at the migrant labor as commodity to looking at them as human assets, human capital, as assets of, the national assets, that they are respectable people looking for a better life. They are people with that we have to protect.
But how can they do that? How can they mean in concrete terms?
The main after changing or shifting to change their mindset, I think right now instead of leaving the whole placement, recruitment, and processing migrant labor to private sector and consider this whole thing as private business sector, the government or the state has to take more responsibility, has to take over some of the process that previously taken or undertaken by the private sectors. For instance, like recruitment. Every year we place in Saudi Arabia, every year almost 120,000 people of Indonesia are placed to Saudi Arabia. In Malaysia now there are 2.5 million Indonesians, documented or undocumented. So recruitment is one of the first gate of how the company, the man supplier company, got the candidates of migrant labor. And most of the time, the sponsor or the broker of the people who provide this migrant, this worker to the company